He was GAWU representative on the commission. All the rest were people who the Granger government chose. The chairman was one Vibert Parvatan, a knowledgeable man, a man who was a minister in Hoyt government, a man who used to work in Daisuko at the managerial level. You had Professor Clive Thomas, a renowned economist, and you had some others who got a lot of experience in sugar, though they are old. Some of them are reached 80 years, 70 odd years. They deliberated for months, and they put up a report. And I'm going to deal with two things. They said in the report, there must be no closure. They said that no estate must be closed. They supported the privatization of estates. There was a minority report by GAWU representative which opposed selling out of the estates, but they support the sellout of the estates. But they were very firm on closure, no closure. And then they said, don't go back to the other crops. They call it diversification. Don't go back to rice, cattle rearing, aquaculture, food growing, all the things they mentioned. They said it proved to be a failure from 1977, 78 to 1992. And they said, if you want to go that way, this is the Commission of Inquiry report. If you want to go that way, so much land the government got on the coast. Go and occupy those lands. But we saw what they did. How many things they would have done at Wales? They promised the workers they will give them some land. Nothing so far. They're gone into the rice venture. According to them, they're supposed to have gone already into aquaculture. Up to now, the study cannot be completed for going to aquaculture. And what is the result? What is the result of the rice growing? The crop just concluded, and you heard the commerce talk to you. I got some figures. Farmers are getting an average of 40 bags per acre. And I understand, and we have to see what is the result, that they won't get, when they don't balance up, more than 18 bags an acre. Even if they get 25, even if they get 30, and that is a dream. It is a failure. It's millions of dollars gone down the drain. And all the export they brought, all the exports, especially those who like to eat labor, at any cost, all they bring. And here we have a failure. But the government don't care a damn. Now when you're going to close a business, a government business, a government is different from a private owner. You are supposed to do a study. You call it social and economic study, socio-economic study, to know who are the people working, their age, the number of males and females, how many children they have, how many people depend upon their income, vendors, shopkeepers, tailors, taxis owners, what it would mean if their jobs are no longer available. If their jobs are no longer available, what other jobs you will promote so that you will not disrupt the people's lives, so you will not perpetuate social problems, so that their children's lives will continue and their children will be able to get education. In fact, the president is talking so much about education, about how many B's you talk about. And what is he doing in fact? Talking, but his actions are far from what he's promising and how much he's talking about the value of education. So no study was done. And today we are seeing what is happening with the people. 12 comrades who used to work on this estate, led by Komal Thomas, held a press conference, and all the newspaper went and covered the press conference. And they put out a 3-page statement, and they dealt with all the major things that are affecting the people. And it was pitiful for the media people, even those media people who are supporting the government, to hear from the people's own mouth, to hear from their heart what is happening with you. There are some things I learned from them at the press conference I didn't know. I know in a general sense, but the real story when you hear it. Incidentally, the taxpayers' newspaper, up to now, that is the Chronicle, can't even carry a picture and a line about that press conference. So important. And that is because they want to duck the news. But comrades, the other papers carry it. And it is pitiful that the paper that depend upon the taxpayers' money have not been even-handed. But that is to tell you how unkind this government is, how wicked this government is. So we have done the closure, no study. When we asked Vice President Ramjatan, who met with a union delegation on Old Year's Day, what about the study, Minister? It was an obligation. And the government, how could the government explain that it did not carry out a study? That was in December last year, Old Year's Day. That it is better to be late than never. You must carry out the study. He was at a meeting with the unions and the PPPC. He had Harman with him, Sharma, Amnali, the president, son-in-law Gaskin, and maybe another minister, I can't remember his name. Gaisuko people, one Hanuman, they were there. And he said, when the PPP representative, Ali, pressed him, but a study is required, and a study was compulsory, that man brought it out. We're not going to carry out no study. If you want, you're going to do one. And we said to him, but it was your obligation. You responsibility. He said, I don't going to bother with that. We're not carrying out on that. We wouldn't carry out any. And that is the kind of answer you're getting from a government who promised you a better life. A government who promised you a better life. I think Siraj talk about job creation, but he forget to talk about job destruction. That is what this government is doing, job destruction. And what is happening? I heard about one lady has 2 daughters, and she has now to find a way to get one of them married out. The other one, she has to withdraw from school. The expense to go to another school some distance away, she can't afford it. She can't afford the fees to sign up for CXC next year. We heard about the other case that Rambir talked about. The boy side wanted a ceremony. The girl side can't afford it. And so that wedding arrangement is squashed. You imagine. Even as far as that, people are affected. And this heartless government, the first thing they do, they appoint from about 16 ministers, 25. Since then, they increased it by 1 and 2. Then the other destructive thing they did, they increased their pay in massive numbers. Some of them carry home millions, over $1 million a month. Having they don't have to pay for electricity. They don't have to pay for water. They don't have to pay for the vehicle that they drive in. And the number of bodyguards, them enjoying themselves. Fine, enjoy yourself. But how can you do that when you got people now forcing themselves? One of the comrades talked at the press conference that many people now, they may move to that. Many reputable people are now being forced to beg. Only thing, they are not going openly and publicly and beg. And then we know what is the crime situation. They spoke about one family who left their house overnight to go to somewhere, and when they come back, everything was gone in the house. That workers now are forced to steal against their mind and their heart, because stealing from your fellow workers is a bad thing to do. But that is what is happening. These heartless people are now making other people heartless and doing so many things. And they keep lying. They got no respect. They produced a paper in the parliament in the month of May this year. They call it state paper on sugar. Before that, they frame another paper and they have a lot of more information. But they decided they won't produce that paper publicly. We get a copy secretly. And the state paper they produce, I got it here, 8 small pages. This is what an industry that is nearly 400 years old, and as Siraj told you, brought all of us here, created all the wealth at the beginning, do so much to the people and the country, and so important to the economy and the people still. Not that it become useless. By the stroke of the pen, you decided for close. That is what they do. This is the paper. But these shameless people, up to now, cannot discuss the paper. All what they do, they read it in the parliament and it's end there. When you reach back, They're upon long holidays. When you reach back at the ending of this month, then by the ending of next month, they will come with the next budget. The next budget they will come with. So they will not have time to talk about the closure in the parliament. The main forum to discuss it. And even the report of the Commission of Inquiry, up to now it has not been discussed. So it shows the kind of treatment that they are showing to these important bodies. And I'm certain that the press conference 2 days ago will let the people at Rosal and the people at East End get to know what is in store for them. Alert them. They know, they heard, but they will get a graphic picture. They will get a real picture of what is going to follow. And so people, comrades, are going to suffer. You have no alternative. Siraj told you, Guyana as an agricultural country, you cannot destroy agriculture and expect the country to prosper. Some countries are endowed with certain resources. Apart from our mining resources, agriculture plays a big role. And not that sugar and rice are no longer viable. We have a lot of possibilities. We have put up to them how we could save sugar. We put up to them how we could have cogeneration, and this is not a pipe dream. Already at Skeldon last year, they sold electricity to GPL in the sum of $9.5 billion. One system at Skeldon using the bagasse, producing much more electricity than the Skeldon factory need, that they are able to export some. We talk about that. GAWU put proposals to them and explained these proposals. We printed it, we circulated it, and they have not come and said to GAWU, oh, this can't work. Oh, we don't agree with this. Even that, this government has no shame. Call us, all years day. We said that if you make up your mind, there is no point to meet you after. They said, no, these are just our proposals to close Enmore, to close Rosal. We already closed Wales, and we will sell out Skeldon. And then when we threatened to not to bother with them and walk out of the meeting, they said, no, comrades. These are proposals, we will listen to you. And if you have good ideas, we will put them on board. Well, nothing gone on board. These confident tricksters, they haven't put nothing. And so we put up our proposals. We are glad that we did that, because they would have gone and said, well, GAWU had an opportunity. And GAWU is bankrupt. GAWU got no ideas. But we cornered them. And now they are barefacedly. Now they are saying that, look, GAWU is not cooperating. GAWU don't want to meet and address matters. Oh, how dishonest they are. But what they are doing, at the beginning of this year, Hanuman said, we're going to make 200,000 tons of sugar this year. At the beginning of the second crop, he said, you know, we're going to make 175,000 tons of sugar. He didn't give no explanation. Where the cane's gone, that would have produced 200,000 tons of sugar 6 months earlier, that is between January to June, July, 174, 175. Well, comrades, now that our comrades are in the fields and they have did an assessment at Iflot, at Eastham, at Blaymont, at Rosal, at Albion, at Skeldon, they can't even produce 150,000 tons. So what am I do? Hanuman feel it bright, and he can fool the Guyanese people. He now is saying, GAWU and the workers are destructive. They call in strikes. You imagine, before some of the GAWU leaders might be snoring in the morning at 5 o'clock and 5:30, and the workers start to strike in the Baghdad. They will blame GAWU for direct the workers to strike. I mean, I'm ashamed to say we might be snoring 5:30 in the morning. But just to demonstrate the point, when we even wake up yet and gone to work, they're blaming us for direct the workers to strike. People wake up, their wives 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, prepare themselves to go to work. If it rains or shines, they're going. They want to honor their pay. They're going to Baghdad, the vines and the grass, the obstacles, the sparse growing of the canes. He said, "Boy, we got to get extra. We got to bargain." And when the bargaining come right, they would rightfully withdraw their labor. The union leadership is condemned for that. The union leadership is condemned because the workers stand up for their rights, defend what they're supposed to get. Well, let Mr. Hanuman know, GAWU will go down to the grave, backing the workers for justice, backing the workers for their rights. But what he's doing, he's telling the public, preparing the public mind for the bad news. I hope he can explain the 18 and 19 bag and acre rice. I wonder if you can blame Mr. Vera eating too much, what the meat name, and drinking too much special rum. Who you gonna blame? He now is attacking, and they say, you know, one of the best ways to defend yourself is to attack. This old-time tactics. He's forced to resign to these old-time tactics. And look at the man's salary. The last time the security report to him, I called some big salary for him, and he wanted to sue me. Like he tell the people what his salary. Like tell them what free plane trips he got every year for he and his wife to London. Like tell him about the insurance coverage. And when he's doing that, he got people, children even can't get milk for drink. That is the kind of moral we have. So, we have a situation, comrades, that these people are going to destroy our life. Good life, the opposite is a bad life, and you might get some better adjectives. That is what we are feeling in this country. And this country is good. This country got future. But if you're going to buck up everything and wait for oil, Ramjatan tell me, I said, man, how you could do all of this? Look, you comrades in the PPP, you Ramjatan used to say this and say that. He said, I am living in dreamland. That you don't know gas and oil will come. Did I read? You don't believe? I said, but Ramjatan, if he come till 2020, if it will happen by 2020. I say, then you'll get profit, you'll get your share. And that share, how you share it to the people. You not publish the agreement, you say, why you must have trust in us. That is what they're telling you. So oil and gas is talking about, and you're destroying the economy. You see what the exchange rate is? You try to buy something abroad, you're talking about 216, 217 Guyana dollar to one. And next year, like now, you will see what it will be. Rails closed and it gone already from 203, 204, 205 to 216. And when the other estate close, and you will have that poor production by year end, you will see. The other day they didn't pay the workers, and they might blame the union and the workers for strike. You imagine the man work, and the man say, I want my pay. That was a contract I have with you. And then they caution up the people for standing up and demanding their pay. What this country has come to. This is not a private employer. This is not those employers who we said us exploit people. This is the state. It is the state that is denying the workers their severance pay. It is the state that you carry them to court to get their severance pay. And up to now, the judges are not fixing the matter. And you have to wait till they fix the matter. At least, comrades, a matter like severance pay, who people depend to get that little crumbs, even that they have to fight for. They wrote the president. The union didn't write the president, they wrote the president. President Granger said, okay, I asked my Minister Holder to reply to you. Where is this man Holder? You're wrong. I see a day with one set of Docklands. They should make him Minister of Docklands. He can't reply up to now. They come and talk about it. And they said, Granger has a responsibility to reply to them. And the workers at the press conference put back the ball in Granger court. Comrades, it's sad. It is sad that we have to face a battle like this. And don't talk about estate got to close, which is the alternative. We had plenty estate before. But Forbes Burnham nationalized the sugar industry to protect it, to consolidate it. No more must close. That is why take it away from the white people. The industry prosper. It's not that the government can run a proper industry. Sugar production under nationalization went the highest in 2002, 2003, 2004, an average production of 3